Now at 5, a new survey aims to gauge the need for public transportation among Joplin residents. Plus, how a 20-year-old Parsons High School project will be used to raise money for a veterans memorial.
An unprecedented court ruling in Alabama is impacting women going through IVF in the state. I'm Natalie Brand with a look at how the issue is also coming up on the campaign trail.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A new survey in Joplin is trying to gauge the need for public transit. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. One Joplin is the nonprofit organization conducting the survey. They plan on sharing the results with local organizations. All Joplin residents are encouraged to take the survey. One Joplin says the more feedback they receive, they hope to catch the ears of the city council.
Because this information will be used by multiple entities. So we plan to take this survey results to City Council, but also Economic Security with their CARS program is going to be using the data. So we have lots of different entities that will be utilizing this. But the biggest thing is we want to make sure that we're giving everybody the opportunity to complete this.
To take the survey, you can go online to KOAMnewsnow.com. The survey concludes April 1st. Well, a project 20 years in the making will now be used to raise money for a veterans memorial in Parsons. Bruce Ray is a Parsons High School technical teacher, and since 2004, he's been working with his students to create a 3/4 scale military Humvee. Since its completion, Ray has been trying to find the perfect use for it, and now he has one. The Humvee has been donated to help raise funds for the Pathways of Freedom Veterans Memorial in Parsons.
And when we came back to in-class, I hadn't really at that time thought about donating the Humvee to the project, but we went to work on the project, and then probably a year ago, I realized that all of our time is on other projects and not the Humvee, and it just seemed like there might be a good fit here.
Ray says 13 manufacturers in Southeast Kansas supported the Humvee project, including Magnum Systems and Neodeshe Plastics. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be another nice day for us today. A little bit cooler than what we saw yesterday, but still soaring well into the 60s to near 70 degrees. Plus, it's been a little bit on the windy side. We've had these northerly winds at about 10 to 15 gusts, kind of near 20, and these are going to stay kind of strong as we go into Friday and as our humidity drops. A little bit of a fire danger, but through the evening we slide back through the 60s, 50s, 40s, eventually upper 30s later on tonight. So it is going to be a little bit cooler, but pretty much clear skies. Not a whole bunch going on here after some thunderstorms we had last night, and these storms today are staying mainly across southern Missouri into northern parts of Arkansas. We are going to continue with the nice mild temperatures and look at our next storm system here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Kansas lawmakers introduced 2 new anti-abortion bills. One bill would create the felony crime of coercion to obtain an abortion. It would require prison time for anyone who convinces someone to get an abortion by threatening physical or financial harm. Another bill would require women to have an ultrasound performed before having an abortion. A second Alabama fertility clinic in Alabama has suspended new IVF treatments after the state Supreme Court ruled frozen embryos have the same rights as children. The decision has put the issue of reproductive rights squarely back in the spotlight on the presidential campaign trail. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Alabama's largest hospital has paused IVF treatments after the state's Supreme Court ruled the embryos have the same rights as children, leaving patients in limbo.
It's completely just derailed a lot of hope.
34-year-old Jasmine York has a 13-year-old daughter, but turned to IVF to have a second child after multiple ectopic pregnancies.
We were really looking forward to March 20th was when I was supposed to transfer.
The court's decision stems from a wrongful death lawsuit filed by 3 couples who lost frozen embryos stored at an Alabama fertility clinic.
Alabama's unprecedented ruling is reverberating on the presidential campaign trail, where reproductive rights has become a key issue following the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, ending the constitutional right to abortion.
Wednesday night, Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley spoke to Gayle King on CNN's King Charles about the court's decision.
I didn't say that I agreed with the Alabama ruling. What the question that I was asked is, do I believe an embryo is a baby? I do think that if you look in the definition, an embryo is considered an unborn baby.
Vice President Kamala Harris addressed the ruling during a roundtable on reproductive rights in the battleground state of Michigan Thursday.
Individuals, couples who want to start a family are now being deprived of access to what can help them start a family.
The CDC says about 2% of all infants born in the U.S. are conceived using IVF each year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The Republican chair of Alabama's Senate Health Care Committee says he plans to file a bill that could protect in vitro fertilization in the state by clarifying that embryos are not viable until they are implanted in the uterus. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says her campaign will keep rolling no matter what happens in her home state in the GOP primary this Saturday. Haley is getting an assist from an army of women volunteers and supporters on the ground, but the efforts do not appear to be gaining traction as Trump holds big leads over Haley, including with women. A record-breaking mission to space earns an Army accolade for an American astronaut. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth today presented the Army astronaut device to Colonel Frank Rubio during a pinning ceremony at the Pentagon. Rubio holds the U.S. record for the most days in space for a single space flight after spending 371 days aboard the International Space Station. Still ahead, as data shows disparities in maternal mortality rates, more black women are using doulas during pregnancy. Plus, what a new study shows about how common long COVID infections are in patients. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, a new study finds persistent COVID infections are more common than previously thought. Researchers with the University of Oxford found 1 to 3% of people who catch COVID have infections lasting a month or longer. Those patients were also 55% more likely to get long COVID, which could linger for months. Mental illness among mothers is a public health crisis leading to more deaths. That's according to research by Children's National Hospital that finds maternal mortality in the U.S. is as much as 3 times the rate of other high-income countries, and 1 in 4 deaths are due to suicide or overdoses. Study authors say more women need to be screened for postpartum depression. It is Black History Month, and data shows significant disparities for Black women when it comes to maternal mortality. Ashley Williams has more on the trend of more Black women using doulas.
This is what a typical day looks like for Natasha Brereton, caring for her 15-month-old twins, Cassandra and Soraya. When her girls arrived early, a group of doulas stood by her side during labor and delivery.
Hiring a doula is not just, a thing, like you just pay someone and they move on. She's forever in my life. You guys want water?
So what is a doula? Well, they're not medical professionals. Instead, they provide physical and emotional support before, during, and after giving birth. According to the CDC, Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than any other group.
We have to have some policy change.
Brandy Bishop is with the National Black Doulas Association, a nonprofit organization that connects Black birthing families with Black doulas. So we asked, why is there a disparity in treatment?
At the baseline, it just has to do with racism. The system that we have treats Black and brown bodies the same way that it always has.
So what's the solution? Bishop says it's threefold. 1, awareness. 2, education. And 3,
we need people to really make change on a government level when it comes to how Black and brown women are treated inside of these hospitals.
Most health insurance companies do not cover doula services, and that's because they're not considered essential care. Payment usually comes out of pocket.
It's so big.
Natasha considers herself lucky. When the twins arrived, her personal doula stayed with her in the hospital for 3 days.
So it's really rewarding to me in my heart that I'm able to be in these spaces. I wish there were more Black women who understood that there's other things that you could do to not just allow the status quo to make you another statistic.
Natasha encourages them to do their research. Ashley Williams, CBS News.
And right now, there are 12 states that cover doulas through Medicaid. Well, doctors say they know the magic number of daily steps that can lower your risk of heart failure. Researchers at the University of Buffalo say 3,600 steps per day at a normal pace can lower your risk of developing heart failure by 26%. The study focused on women ages 63 and older. Most women in the U.S. average less than 24,000 steps daily. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, how some diabetics are dealing with high prices for insulin.
Plus, the winds are going to stick around, but also the mild temperatures. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice day once again for us today. A little bit cooler than yesterday, but still highs into the mid to upper 60s, so fantastic across the region. It looks great right now. Here's a nice shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri, and we're going to stick with those clear skies as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, 65 Stockton, 67 Anderson into Bentonville, Grand Lake 69, Pittsburgh 66. We have Nowata sitting at 68 degrees, still well above where we should be for this time of the year. We're going to slide back through the 60s, 50s, 40s. Eventually, we'll bottom out into the upper 30s later on tonight. But here's 7th, here's Rangeline, 65. Northerly winds at about 15. Now, we've had gusts that have been higher than that over the past several hours, so just kind of a steady northerly wind, and then we've been getting some gusts kind of in that 20 upwards to 25 mile per hour range, even a little bit higher than that at times. The winds are going to stay breezy tonight and then into tomorrow. Northwesterly wind, still gusts kind of 25 upwards to 30, and then they finally calm down by Saturday as the winds will start to switch out the southwest by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. All right, not a whole bunch going on here. We had some scattered thunderstorms last night. That system now off to our south and to our east with scattered thunderstorms, southern Missouri, northern parts of Arkansas. Back toward the west, not a whole bunch going on, so this is going to be our weather as we go through the next few days. We have some weak little waves. You can see kind of a northwest flow, a few weak little waves that will give some clouds from time to time, but besides that, we look okay. All right, let's go through tonight. A few clouds kind of shooting through, eventually upper 30s to near 40 by morning. As we go through the morning hours, we warm upper 50s to lower 60s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, a great Friday afternoon, high temps mainly mid 60s, 63 in Anderson, Miami 66, 66 in Chanute, Nevada up to about 62 degrees. Tomorrow night, northwesterly winds, we drop back into the mid 30s once again. As we go into Saturday, those winds switch around out of the south and it looks pretty good. High temps 62, 63 degrees by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. All right, your Friday day planner, plenty of sunshine. We go from the 40s to 50s upwards to about 64 by the time we get into Friday afternoon. Saturday also looking great with lower 60s, and then Sunday, look at this, we pop back into lower 70s by Sunday afternoon. We stay into the 70s on Monday, we stay into the 70s on Tuesday, and then Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, a strong storm system rolls out. Very strong cold front, so this will greatly cool us down by the time we head into the second half of next week. 64s for us tomorrow, 64, 64 Saturday, up to 72 on Sunday, 76 by Monday, and then chances for showers, even a few thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
Okay, well, we're going to need some rain.
Yeah. All in all, looks good.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, what cell networks are saying about an outage affecting thousands of customers nationwide. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a massive outage today impacted tens of thousands of cellular customers across the country. The problem appeared to mostly be impacting customers with the nation's largest cell phone provider, AT&T. According to data from Down Detector, AT&T had more than 73,000 reported incidents at the peak of the outage, with users in cities like Houston, Atlanta, and Chicago seeing SOS messages displayed in the status bar. Some police departments had their phones impacted. AT&T says its network has now been restored, and customers with T-Mobile and Verizon also reported issues, but both companies say they did not experience an outage. An estimated 8.5 million Americans rely on diabetes medication insulin to survive. Recent changes cap the cost at $35 a month, but many people, either uninsured or not on Medicare, do not qualify for this price. For them, it's far more expensive and complicated. Roxana Sabiri has one mother's story.
So your blood sugar is 192.
14-year-old Cassie Gray says she doesn't want diabetes to define her, but it can take a toll.
I feel defeated sometimes, like it takes over my life.
This is her insulin pen.
For her mother, Tara, it brings an added worry.
What is it like for you financially to pay for these treatments?
We tried to hide some of our stress from our daughter because she already has enough on her plate.
Insulin prices recently decreased as Medicare, some states, and drug manufacturers moved to cap monthly costs. But not all patients qualify.
Exactly how much help you'll get could depend on the drug itself, on your insurance, how big your deductible is, and in some cases even on your income.
Tara says she was shocked when her private insurance company sent her this letter in 2022, stating that one form of insulin Cassie needs was no longer covered.
It was not medically necessary.
Not medically necessary.
That's what the letter said. I think I just sat there like, not medically necessary. This is her heir.
But families on the Facebook group that she runs for diabetes patients gave her a tip. She could download a coupon to lower the monthly price from $600 to $99.
My worry for the future of coupons would be that they go away.
The three top insulin manufacturers told CBS News they have several programs to lower the costs of the drug. Eli Lilly says it supports bipartisan federal legislation capping prices at $35 for everyone. So does Tara.
Every insulin should have a cap.
Then she'd know Cassie could always afford the life-saving medicine she'll need. Roxana Saberi, CBS News, Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Well, union membership is at an all-time low, but strike activity is alive and kicking. According to the Labor Department, 2023 saw 33 major strikes involving more than 450,000 workers. That's the most in more than 2 decades. Some of those strikes included Hollywood screenwriters and actors and workers at all 3 Detroit automakers. A strong labor market empowered workers to demand and win massive pay increases. Final check of the forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, was an Army doctor betraying the trust of service members to sexually abuse them? Soldiers speak out for the first time to CBS News. And then on KOAM News at 6, we'll have more on a Joplin survey examining the need for public transportation. Plus, a Missouri family may finally know who killed their daughter more than 30 years ago. And some wrestlers in Carthage are headed to state. We'll see how the school came together to send them on their way. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then on KOAM News at 6. Final check of the weather.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice evening as we drop back through the 60s, 50s, eventually into the upper 30s. So a little bit cold later on tonight. 64 tomorrow, 64 Saturday, 70s returning on Sunday and Monday.
Just waiting for those nights where we don't need to turn on the heater.
I know, that'd be nice.
It is February. All right, thanks, Doug. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, of course. We'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.